Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Prairie Podcast. My name is Andrew Weeb. Some people might call me Bruce Wayne. At other times, you never know. Just putting that out there. And welcome back to the Prairie Podcast. Like I said, no matter who you are, where you're listening in from, I'm sure you're going to get a laugh out of today. You'll hear some puns. You'll hear some dry moments. But through it all, I think you'll actually learn something, hopefully. Is the plan, because we've got a wonderful guest with us today. Uh, it's the former student union president, Morgan Kraaikamp. I don't actually know when the line happens, whether you stay president till fall or as soon as the school year is done, you're out.
Yeah, I think as soon as the school year is done, I'm out, but I mean, we're still working on the details of the overthrow that's happening, so we'll just, for
Exactly.
now at least.
So, as we conclude this little mini series on exploring essays in the integrated seminar class, we've brought in the former interim, possibly still in charge, student union president Morgan Kraaikamp to talk about a theology of comedy. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Certainly. As you can see, we're getting right into it. We've got the Joker himself. This is my Batman costume. I don't know where my mask went. I actually used to have a mask, but at least I've got the utility belt. That's the best I can do. Do you think Batman ever carried a tape measure and a pencil with him?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Would have been used many times.
Oh, yeah, gotta plan his escape hole.
Measure it out
Yeah.
before he jumps in.
Whenever he does his grappling hook, he just, not long enough, then he moves to a different window.
Oh, of course. Well, maybe you're not actually the Joker. Maybe you are. But wind up, Morgan, you introduce yourself for us again a little bit. I know we've had on the podcast previously, but give us a little bit of a background who you are, and we can jump in from there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm Morgan, and I'm a third-year pastoral student here at Prairie. And like you said, the interim, I guess, former student union president now. So I've lived in Three Hills my whole life, and I'm just finished my integrative seminar.
Well, there we go. Certainly. And you wrote about a theology of comedy. Now, before we get into that, listeners probably don't recall this, but like I said, you were on the podcast previously, and you gave me a gift.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can show a clip of that.
I actually, speaking of presents, I got you a little something to commemorate our time here together.
Okay, it is a nice hand-drawn poster that says BFFs, and he gave me very
Yep.
nice abs.
For those of you not in the know, BFFs means best friends forever.
Yeah, anyway, it was this wonderful, it's this wonderful little picture he gave me of us being best friends. And that sentiment has been really dear to me throughout the whole school year. And so,
Yeah.
I thought, I'm not going to be out on campus very much. But yet, we're supposed to be good friends now. And so I thought, what does a good friend do? He takes a friend with him. So I've got a little something for you.
Oh, okay.
This right here, for viewers, is Morgan's student union presidential poster. Now, that's for you. You can keep that.
Oh, thank you.
At the start of the year, you announced when you put them up that no one was allowed to take them or they get in trouble. And so, of course, I had to find a way to get around this, to which I got you to sign a contract without your knowing what was on the contract. Can we show a clip of that? Can you just sign something really quick?
What is this?
Just sign right here with it. It's just that blah, blah, blah stuff.
I feel like I should read this.
It's you don't need a word. It's just that two terms stuff,
All right.
Just trying to
The
the
participant?
participant, yeah.
All right.
Cool.
There you go, yeah.
Thank you. So, of course, I had your permission to take the poster. And this poster has been across the country, actually. It's been held by the hands of high school students in Christian schools from BC to Ontario.
Whoa.
Yes. In all of which they have shouted, "Go Morgan." So you now have a fan base that spans the country. And if I remember correctly, you've never left Alberta.
I've never lived outside of
Oh,
Alberta,
lived
but I've
outside.
left it
Okay,
before.
okay, okay. But now you've got a fan base wherever you move to.
Wow.
In fact, we'll show one clip. One clip. It's not of some students, but it's of one place I took you. Um, I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, there you go. That's for you. We've come
Wow.
full circle now since the start of the school year to now.
That's incredible, Andrew. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Yeah,
back
put an explosion. Put an explosion at it.
Well, we laugh, we joke, and that's what we're here to talk about today, right? Talking about comedy. So, Morgan, why don't you give us the flyby? Give us the big picture of your paper. What were you writing about? And then maybe we can dive into why you wrote it.
Yeah, my paper is on the theology of comedy and its potential uses um, in evangelism and going out and sharing the good news and actually being using it for God's glory.
Mhm.
Because yeah, a lot of I mean, I enjoy a good joke.
Mhm.
Everyone enjoys a good joke, but so often it's underappreciated or undervalued in the Christian communities and whatnot. Um, so I wrote this paper to bring light to this gift that God has given us,
Hmm.
and to tell people that it's not only okay to use comedy to um, spread the gospel and to get to know people, but it's actually one of our best gifts that we can use that'll help to spread the gospel and help lower walls and lower defenses so that we can actually then connect heart to heart
Hmm.
afterwards.
Maybe before we even dig deeper into this, we should maybe talk about what humor is. Um, because as we all know, we can laugh at different things. And so, I don't know, maybe you worked on a definition, or maybe you can explain to us a little bit about what is humor. If God created us to laugh, and we kind of have this general sense, what would be kind of the definition that you researched and came to conclude?
It's actually kind of a tough question
Okay.
because of how widely diverse humor is. Like some people, you know, they see someone falling down the stairs and they're like, "Oh, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen." Other people see that same person falling down the stairs and they're like, "Oh my goodness, are they okay?" Like I saw them tumble down 4 flights. Are they good? Do I need to call an ambulance?
Hmm.
And so there's such a wide variety of what people find funny. Some people really enjoy puns, but some people you say a pun to them and they're just like, "Oh." So there's a lot of different things, and the science behind humor has really only started in the last, or picked up, I suppose, more in the last little while here. So it's not one of those things that's been researched really heavily for
Hmm.
so many times. And even then, a lot of the research I found was humor could be this or humor could be that. Humor might do this, humor might not. Some people, it worked for some people, did not for others.
Yeah.
So, um, but one of the definitions that I have used for my essay is overall humor is in incongruity between expectation and the reality of what happens.
Hmm.
And the example I use is the classic, the banana peel, right? You see a banana peel on the ground and someone's walking towards it. And you, in your logical thinking, your expectations would go, oh, he's going to step around the banana peel, or he's going to perhaps step on it and then continue walking because nothing is going to happen. But then you watch and he walks and he steps on the banana peel and he slips all over the place. And then your brain thinks, well, that's not what I expected to happen logically, even though now we know, oh, banana peel means he's going to slip, which
Yeah.
is why it's almost funnier now if they do just end up walking around it. But it's that incongruity between the reality of what happens, him slipping on the banana peel,
Hmm.
and what we would logically expect him to not because it's just a banana peel on the ground.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I think that's actually a really good definition because, like you said, it's oftentimes the separation of the expectation and the reality. And now the banana peel, the expectation is that you will slip, and if you don't slip now, and like I said, we all kind of like, oh, we get a little chuckle out of it, or
Hmm.
it is true. There is this expectation and then the broken reality. Uh, it's probably one of the better definitions, but like you said, because it's so vague. Let's talk about humor in the Bible. You mentioned Jesus quite a bit. You mentioned, there's kind of this idea that piety is seriousness and laughter is therefore non-pious, or you're not truly theological, or that you're not diving into the deeper theological things when you make a joke about it, right? I know you had this one quote or something about like why, if I remember it correctly, like why do Bible stories only get views if it's comedic or something like that?
Mm.
Um, but there's a sense that comedy can pull us in, like you've already mentioned. There's a unifying fellowship that happens with it. But here in the Bible, you had a couple stories. I don't know if you recall those stories, but I'm curious if you could share a bit about them.
Yeah. So one of my major um, points that I use to argue for humor in the Bible is that humor is in the Bible, and so because of that, it's not a bad thing. It's in the Bible, inherently in multiple different places you can find it, and I do bring up a few of these examples to prove my point that there is humor here, so that it is like a God given gift.
Hmm.
Um, so one of them I use is the story of Balaam and his donkey, because I mean that one's just, I mean you just think about it for a moment. You have this prophet of this enemy nation, and he's off to go curse Israel,
Hmm.
and he's riding his little donkey around, and then suddenly the donkey just stops in the middle of the road, and he's just, what's going on here? And he gets the donkey to keep going again, and the donkey reluctantly keeps going, and then again, the donkey brushes him against the wall and he's hurts his foot and he's like, "Ow, what, you stupid donkey!" And he beats the donkey again. And then finally, the third time, the donkey stops again and just will not go on any further. And the prophet Balaam is just like, "You are such a dumb animal. You need to obey me. Why are you doing this?" And the donkey then turns around to him and goes, "You're the stupid one. Look." And then in front of him is this giant angel, and his eyes are opened, and he's got this flaming sword waiting to just take him out. And then Balaam realizes how blind he's been the whole time, and this prophet can't see God's working in the world around him, but the donkey can. And then the donkey corrects him and turns around to him and starts actually physically talking to him. And it's just this humorous story of like, can't help but laugh at poor Balaam over here. He's getting embarrassed by an animal.
Exactly. And I think you touch on a really key idea there, that you work through your paper is, comedy. It's a human experience. God created us with humor. We see it in the Bible. But once again, there's not a separation between humor and theology, or discussing the ideas of God, the truths of God, and the truths of his creation, right? That
Mm.
this kind of story that breaks our expectations shows these truths that even the worst can come to know Christ. They can come to know God. They can find redemption. God will forgive. God continues to use people in their worst circumstances, right? That you can actually observe these even in the broken expectations that humor provides, right? Uh, Real quick, maybe we will also touch a little bit on Jesus. I think you mentioned quite a bit about some of his parables or some of his teachings. I don't know if you have any comments on Jesus's use of humor.
So Jesus, as you know, as sound doctrine says, is fully human and fully God, which means he also has both a sense of humor, because God has a sense of humor, and a sense of humor in a human way as well, that we have a
Mm,
sense of humor as well.
yeah.
So we can see this kind of throughout his ministries, especially in a lot of his parables revolve around this irony that he uses, which is a big element of humor in the Bible is that irony. And so it's not always a laugh out loud type humor, but it's still there, and that irony is based around that um, subversion of expectations, because that's entirely what irony is. Um, So, one of the examples I used in my paper is the parable of the Good Samaritan. I'm sure everyone knows that one already,
Hmm.
but Jewish man gets beat up on the side of the road, and the ones who pass him are actually the ones that you would expect to stop and help because they're the ones with the power and they're the ones who are the most, righteous and the ones you would expect. It's like the Jewish, the synagogue leaders and
Hmm.
the wealthy, the people who have the power to help, and they see him on the side of the road and they go, absolutely not. I want nothing to do with that guy. And they pass on by. And then here comes a Samaritan who
Hmm.
is like an arch nemesis of those guys, like a Prairie student and any of the other surrounding colleges. No, I kid. But they have this rivalry, this thing. It goes all the way back. Again, I'm not going to go into the theologies behind that. There's a whole history between the Samaritans and the Jews at this point. So the people listening to Jesus would have been like, "Oh, it's one of these guys," and then he's the one that stops and helps, and everyone would have been like, "What? No way! This guy? This is the one who stops?" And he's the one who stops. And not only does that, but he brings him to the inn and he's like, I'm going to pay for medical bills. If there's anything else, like, I'm going to come back. I'll pay anything extra that you have. I'm going to take care of this man to my fullest. It's not
Hmm.
just an obligation, it's him being overly kind to this person. And then Jesus uses this humorous story to then drive home his point of who is my neighbor,
Hmm.
and it's just your fellow man.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who.
Exactly. Well, it's wonderful. And once again, what we're seeing here is the irony of the story points to a greater truth,
Mm.
and that comedy can have a unique place in doing that. Uh, Irony is a great tool because it does break our expectations. That's what makes us actually think. Oftentimes, this one, oh, I was caught off guard, right?
Mm.
You also then kind of take a little bit of a break and then talk about the different types of humor, the good, the bad, the funny, and kind
Mhm.
of because
Mhm.
we all know, and at some point that it feels like there's got to be a line too, right? That we know that there's some humor that maybe we shouldn't dive into. But I'm curious what your research found, or kind of what you discovered in that field.
Yeah. Humor is like all good things. It's good, but it can be twisted and it can be um, corrupted, especially if it is such a, as I claim in my paper, if it is such uh, a great tool that we can use for good, then obviously the devil and his minions would want to take that and turn it towards their own purposes as well.
Hmm.
So, and I'm sure we've all been on the receiving end of this, but um, humor can be used for good to build people up, or it could be used for bad and breaking people down. You know, like I could tell you that you're, you know, too hairy of a guy and your beard is too luscious, and I really hate that about you because I'm so jealous. And that would be uh, a bad. I'm breaking you down. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not in this case, but I don't want to say anything too bad. Hopefully, we're
Uh,
bringing it back for round three.
Oh, exactly.
You
Round
know,
three, when Morgan can vent all his frustrations about Andrew.
yeah, exactly. We can have a Prairie Rant podcast going off about the things we hate. But anyway, um, but actual bad jokes,
Mhm.
where if I were to say something like, "Oh, you're so fat, you're so stupid, you're so," etc., etc., all of these insulting comedy things. That's not building anyone up. That's
Yeah.
not um that's not praising God. It's not glorifying God, just breaking people down. And yeah, it may get a laugh from your friends, but is that really the end goal? Is that really what you want to do with your comedy? Is give people just a s- a, a short laugh rather than building an actual connection?
Hmm.
Because that's what that does. Bad humor, it does bring laughter still because it's still a type of humor, but it doesn't build life into the person,
Mhm.
either the person that you're joking about or the people around you either.
Yeah.
Because I know if someone is just incessantly using that mean spirited humor to break people down and be like, oh, I'm going to point out all of your flaws and make myself feel better about myself, I don't want to be around that person. I don't feel like they're representing God in a good way, and they're not using their humor for a good purpose.
Yep.
So recognizing when we're using jokes to either to tear people down, to
Yeah.
insult, to mock, to another thing I bring up in my essay is to cover sin or to um, explain or laugh away sinful behavior. Because we can make jokes about all kinds of things about like, oh, I'm just gonna do this, something like idolatry or taking the Lord's name in vain or like sexual immorality is a big one. There's all of these things we can joke about, and then it kind of lightens it and makes it kind of flippant. And that's also not what humor is made for. It's made to bring truth to things, not to dismiss hard topics as something we can just laugh about. Not saying that we can't, but when that's all we're doing with comedy,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be God honoring as it could be if we were making some jokes about it, but also making them in a good way that's honoring God and bringing truth to maybe shedding light on um, the harsh realities of these sinful topics as well.
Certainly. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Morgan. Thanks for giving us some of your research, some of what you've observed, and I hope we can all learn to laugh a little bit more from all of this. I'm curious if people wanted to look further into this topic. Do you have any resources, things people should check out, or read about, or watch that might get them started on just thinking more about this topic?
Mm. I would say anything by Phil Callaway is really good at blending faith and fun together.
Hmm.
And whether it's just his stand-up routines or the books he writes, they really do work well to kind of further explain my points of opening up people's walls through the use of humor and the use of humor in tough times. The kind of the relief that humor allows, even during the toughest times.
Hmm.
Um, just the um, just the mixture of fun and faith. And again, he's just a really funny guy. He's got good jokes in there too. So you're bound to have a good time if you pick up one of his books or watch one of his routines or something like that.
Well, very good to know. So yeah, of course, we always encourage people check out Phil Callaway. I know for the longest time he was the lead editor of our Servant magazine. I know he still contributes in an article. So that's a fun resource you can find on the website as well, which is really great. Before we head out, I just thought of a quick fact that you might be interested in hearing about.
Okay, yeah,
Um, did you know that baseball is the first thing that the Bible talks about, that God actually mentions in Scripture?
really.
Yes,
Hmm.
because the Bible starts out with "in the beginning."
Ah, wow. Well, did you know that 100% of all people who watch the Prairie Podcast actually experience really good things in their lives?
I didn't.
Yeah, well, that's probably because I made that up. But you never know.
You
Could be
never
true.
could be true. Well, let's see if the expectation is different than the reality.
Mm,
Anyway, well, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. I hope you learned something new. I learned something new at least, and thank you, Morgan, for your research, for your time. Really appreciate it.
of
Have a
course.
wonderful day, everyone.